On this episode, we take a look at some of the lists comparing Bangkok to other cities around the world to see how it measures up.
So if you've ever wondered what these say about the health of our city, or if they can even be trusted, you'll love this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, and welcome to the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Thailand in 2001 because I was the one who started the rumor that our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is actually the illegitimate son of Fidel Castro, and the powers that be didn't like that.
Apparently not. And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract 22 years ago, went on a mission to find a really good Thai soap opera. And well, I'm still looking. It just takes a while. It's a big project.
Yeah, you just got to walk around slapping people and staring at them as they recover while the music tense plays in the background.
I'm telling you, man, the Thai soap opera is kind of a fixed genre. I just happened to, this was in my head because I happened to chance upon a Thai soap opera recently, and it just seems exactly the same as they were 20 years ago. It doesn't seem like it's advanced. The production value, I mean, I'm guessing the production value has gone up some, but I can't immediately notice it.
We should have like a cheese off between a Thai soap opera and a telenovela, like the Mexican ones.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Well, I think they're popular enough that maybe they figure they just have a winning formula.
Yeah, if it ain't broke.
All right, we want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind-the-scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners from around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we did a follow-up to my Grang Jai rant from last week, wherein I issue a partial apology to my new maid, a discussion on romance scams that seem to be forever alive and well, and a quick discussion about the absurd amount of staff that assault you when you go into HomePro asking if you need help, including a suggestion from Greg that politely lets everyone know that if you want help finding something, you will ask for it. To learn how to become a patron, click the support button at the top of our website.
That's right, baby. And as always, if you have a comment, a show idea, or just want to say hi, head to bangkokpodcast.com and click the little microphone button on the bottom right to leave us a voicemail that we will play on the show. Also, as a quick side note, guaranteed this week it is really Ed and I, not some dodgy AI voice synthesizer.
True that.
We got a couple of comments. People are like, man, it sounded really good, but like I knew something was off, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
I'm telling you, it's about 90% there. I think in 6 months, I mean, the way things are going in 6 months, it's going to be perfect.
Crazy, man. What are we even around for?
That's right.
All right. Well, on this episode, we were inspired by some reading we were doing on urban studies, as we do in our spare time. And we saw a few reports that ranked some of the big cities of the world based on a variety of data gathered from, as the scientific term goes, a bunch of places.
That's right.
Naturally, we began looking for Bangkok to see how it stacked up in a variety of different metrics. So we figured it'd be kind of interesting to take a look at some of these numbers to see what the math says about our adopted home, if we agree or disagree, and whether or not these types of polls and listicles and rankings can be trusted at all, or if they're just sort of goosed and tweaked and stuff to fit a certain narrative. I don't know. But these come out a lot, Ed, and I mean, Asia is big for, the digital nomads. And so Bangkok and Thailand always features highly on a lot of them. But what is your overall takeaway from these things?
Well, for one, I think it's cool that Bangkok is up there. I mean, you get this feeling anytime you read one of these polls or rankings that I feel like Bangkok is almost always mentioned. So in a way, it feels good. This clearly is it's a world city. It's a city on the map of the world. Like, there's no doubt about that. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. So I like that. But man, and obviously this is what this whole show is about. But sometimes I see rankings and I just can't believe it. Like you and I actually talked previously about this crazy food ranking that had, I think it even had like British food above Thai food, which is a crime against humanity. No one thinks British food is better than Thai food.
It's a known joke, a meme even.
Yeah, that's right. So some of the rankings are definitely nonsense. So This is what we're going to unpack, and we came across some new polls and new rankings, and allegedly these are done by people in a given field who are supposedly experts on something, and some of them are somewhat scientific, where they have like little scores and things. That's what we're going to talk about, and so let's just go through them and give our take.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I always give sort of more time and more shrift to the ones that have that are data based, science based, that have hard numbers to back up their findings. They have solid methodologies that are well explained, versus the one that said, like, Lithuanian food is better than Thai food. Well,
right.
Who did you ask? Like the people in the the people in the Lithuanian restaurant. They're not going to. So I'm always sort of biased towards the ones that are more akin to a real quote unquote scientific study or journal.
Absolutely.
So, the first one I came across, I was reading this the other day, actually, and I thought it was quite well done, well explained. And we'll put a link in our show notes to all of these ones that we talk about. And this one was the Global Power City Index. And it ranks cities on their comprehensive power to attract people, which it calls magnetism. I kind of like that. Like, what's your city's magnetism rating? Is Bangkok magnetic? I like it. So it ranks cities based on a couple of criteria: their livability, the environment, accessibility, economy, research and development, and cultural interaction. And each of those are broken down into further categories that I won't get into here.
Okay, now hold on a second.
Right.
Before you even give the ranking,
all right,
looking at those characteristics, I'm going to guess that Bangkok ranks fairly low.
Really?
Just from what you said. So livability, I think, is not bad, but it's not great just because of traffic. So traffic just is going to cut into livability. And then you also mentioned environment, which we know we've got air pollution problems and floods, right? Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned cultural interaction, which we've talked about this before. Bangkok has some great cultural stuff, but I think it doesn't stack up well against other big cities around the world. So I think we're culturally behind. So lay it on me, man. What did they say for Bangkok?
Interesting. I think your intuition is pretty on the ball. Although I was surprised that you assumed that Bangkok would be low, because when you talk about a city being magnetic, I mean, Bangkok's a magnetic city, man.
Well, it's magnetic to me and you, but I'm basing it on those qualities. As soon as you said livability, I thought, ooh, traffic. As soon as you said environment, I was like, oh shit, air pollution. and then when I heard culture, I'm like, that's the dagger.
Yeah, right.
That's the dagger in Bangkok's back.
Right. Et tu, Brute?
Yeah. So how did we rank?
Well, first of all, let me read off the top 10 cities in the world. Now, this out of a total of 48 like world cities.
Okay, so they started with only 48, but these are like the big cities in the world, is what you're saying?
Yeah, there's a total of 48, which they call like meet the threshold of like a major global city.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, there's no surprises in the top 10. They are London, New York, Tokyo, Paris, Singapore, Amsterdam, Seoul, Berlin, Melbourne, and Shanghai.
Wow. Yeah, that's what you would expect. And I guess I wonder if they factored in cost into livability, because I thought places like New York and Tokyo would be hurt just by the cost.
Yeah, actually, the cost of living does factor into that, and that's broken down into two things: housing rent and price level, which are not.
Wow. So even with cost in there, New York is. Did you say New York is number one?
London is number one. New York is number two.
Oh, wow, that's impressive. But in a way, it is kind of what you would guess. I mean, London. When I think of just impressive cities in the world, I think of the ones everyone else thinks of. I think of London. I think of New York. I think of Paris. I think of Tokyo. I think of maybe Berlin, something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, okay. So that's the top 10. So I didn't hear Bangkok in there.
No, Bangkok's not in there. You have to go a bit further down the list. Let me just make a quick sound effect here. All the way down to number 40.
Ooh, 40 out of 48. So I was right. So what are the bottom 10?
The bottom 10, reading from
who are compatriots, who are our compatriots are.
Well, I'll give you the bottom 8 because there's only 48 cities. So Bangkok is number 40. And I'll go down to the bottom from Bangkok. So number 41 is Kuala Lumpur, followed by Fukuoka at 42, Buenos Aires, Mexico City, Jakarta, Cairo, Johannesburg, and Mumbai.
Interesting. Now, okay, did you have the whole list there? Can you go the ones above, right above us?
Yeah, right above Bangkok, number 39, Tel Aviv, 38, Sao Paulo. Then you got Osaka, Taipei, Washington, D.C., Vancouver, Moscow, and Istanbul.
That's not bad. I mean, I think DC is great. I mean, okay, it has a crime problem. Okay, interesting. So wait, so can you give me those again, the ones right above us?
Sure.
So
Tel Aviv, Sao Paulo, Osaka, Taipei, Washington.
Osaka's great.
I love Osaka.
I love Osaka, and my friends who've gone to Taipei absolutely love it.
And Vancouver is 34. I would have thought Vancouver would have been way up there, but anyway.
Yeah, I've heard great things about Vancouver. To be honest, this is... it's a pretty tough competition now that I see, I kind of see where we're at. And, I've heard absolutely great things about Tel Aviv. I mean, it's just, it happens to be one of the most veggie friendly cities on earth, which I'm sure boosted its rankings. But yeah,
true.
okay. But I'm kind of not surprised that Bangkok, out of these 48, I'm kind of surprised. I'm not very surprised that Bangkok is near the bottom.
Right. So 40th, it fell 8 spots since 2013, which is the earliest year that they
Interesting.
showed.
I wonder why it fell. I wonder if they factor in political instability. Do they factor that in?
Well, actually, funnily speaking, and in 2019, before the pandemic broke, it was also at 40. And then it went up to 35 for the 2 years during the pandemic, and then back down to 40 this year. So it's kind of funny.
Oh, weird.
See.
It could be air quality this year. Air quality this year has been horrible, and it really matters. It's like, if I was a tourist and I showed up here and I was coughing because of the air, I would not be a happy camper.
Well, let's dive into it a little bit, and I've got a really cool graph here that breaks down each of the rankings for each city. We'll include that for our patrons. So overall, it ranked 40th out of 48th. It ranked high for livability, which includes work environment, cost of living, safety, and ease of lifestyle.
I mean, I would have dinged it more for traffic and things like that, but I agree on safety.
Definitely.
And I think cost of living is relatively low compared to those other cities. You might not be able to find a totally equal accommodations, but you can definitely live cheaply here. There's no doubt about that.
For sure. And ease of lifestyle is interesting too. I thought that was cool because, Bangkok is a very easy city to live in, man. It's easy to get whatever you need, whether you want low so, high so, or anything in between.
Especially if you're willing to take public transportation. It's like if you have a way to avoid the traffic, that just exponentially improves things. So if you're on the BTS or MRT and you don't drive and you don't have to take taxis or motorbikes, then it's a pretty easy city.
Right. Well, funnily enough, the ease of living thing is broken down into the number of medical doctors, the ICT readiness. I'm not sure what that means. ICT is IT stuff, I guess. And then a number of retail shops and number of restaurants.
That definitely is true then. So I understand why we'd be ranked high for sure.
And another little graph on the thing jumped out. It said that Bangkok has one of the lowest rates of murder out of all the cities. Only 6 murders per million people.
Really, it's funny. I thought Bangkok ranked higher for gun deaths. I always thought Bangkok ranked low for random murder, like random violence, so it feels safe. But I always thought there were more murders because I think there was like targeted killings here where businessmen kill other businessmen. So I'm going to put a question mark. I'm not sure I believe that stat.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I think it's true. It's true that random violent crimes are low here, which is what you and I and most people care about.
Right.
But I'm not sure that murders are low.
Well,
we'll have to look into that.
It said Singapore was the safest at 1 murder per 1 million people, and unsurprisingly, the worst city for that is New York at 36.
Out of the big cities. I mean, and there's definitely worse cities in the States. It's just they're probably not on this list of 48.
Yeah, right. But Thailand ranked particularly low for cultural interaction.
There you go. I knew it.
Yeah, you're right. You were totally right. With things like the number of cultural events, art markets, theaters, museums, stadiums, and shopping options.
I would think it would do better for shopping. Maybe there's not variety. I mean, most malls tend to copy other malls. Maybe that's the
Right.
problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think options is the key word there, as well as it scored low for air quality, waste recycle rate, CO2 emissions, air quality, and comfort of the comfort level temperature.
Okay. Yeah. So all of that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would say, the competition is actually kind of stiff. Like the fact that, Tel Aviv is just beating us out a little bit. That's not bad company. That's pretty good company. And I like that we're ranked a little bit above KL. I think we should be ranked more above KL, but KL is a good city. Like, again, I've had friends who've lived down there. You and I have had friends who lived down there and they really liked it.
I've never been there, but I'm actually going there for the first time next month for a few days.
I think I flew through there, but I've never hung out there. I would accept this ranking. A lot of times when I see these rankings, like that food one, I'm like, no way. But this one, given the company, given the competition, I think this is about right.
Yeah, when you're putting yourself up against London and New York, the only thing I can think of is The Wire when Omar says, "You come for the king, you best not miss." Right? That's some pretty heavy competition, man. You're playing with the big boys.
No doubt. I mean, I think if we could work, to me, it's stuff like the big three are traffic, air quality, and then the culture stuff. Like, and I don't know how you fix the culture thing, but it's just there needs to be more. That's the thing. There just needs to be more.
Right. And I noted what popped out to me was the stadiums, the lack of stadiums. And, I remember when I went to see Guns N' Roses a few months back, and it's just getting up to Mungton Thani and it's just a horrible, horrible way to get up there.
Well,
man.
as you know, we're going to get M-Sphere, so I guess they're working on it. But I mean, and I know you can go see a play in Bangkok, but I've never seen a play, not even a single time. I've never gone to see a stage play.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing even attempting to be like the Thai version of Broadway. Like there's nothing.
Right.
There's not even like an attempt to do that. I don't know much about classical music, and I know there is a Bangkok Symphony. It's just a smaller thing than it should be given the population of the city. Like I know it all exists. Like all culture, it does exist here, but it's much smaller than it should be, I think.
Right. I do feel like a bit of a hypocritic douche sort of complaining about it and then having never been to the National Museum and having never gone to see the Bangkok Symphony Orchestra.
Well, I've only gone to the concerts in the park. So I've gone to the Lumpini Park outside thing. So I've heard the orchestra before, and I have been to the National Museum. But I plead guilty, though, when it comes to culture, because I know there's more there than I have experienced. So I really shouldn't talk it down until I've exhausted the possibilities.
Right. Well, another thing so anyway, that's it for that list, that Global Power City Index, which I think is good. We'll link to it in our show notes, and there's a lot of really cool data
that's a good one.
backing that up. But, a lot of people are talking about the cost of living nowadays. I mean,
Sure.
My mom just sent me a message yesterday. Hang on a second. I'm going to open it up right now. She's talking about my sister who lives in Vancouver. She said it's $9 for a dozen eggs in Vancouver.
I don't know anything about. I don't know how. I don't eat eggs. I don't buy eggs. So how much is that? A lot for eggs or a little for eggs?
That is 300 baht for 12 eggs.
Well, I guess that's a lot. So that's a lot, right?
Actually, that's a good point. I never actually look at how much eggs cost here, but they're not $9.
I'll do a quick search for a dozen eggs.
Oh yeah, I
and
guess
see
so.
what pops up here in Bangkok.
Are you using that internet that all the kids are talking about?
It looks like somewhere around like 120 baht, something like that.
Okay, so a third.
Organic chicken eggs.
Ooh, HISO
120
eggs.
baht. Yeah, looks like normal ones might be more like 90, something like that.
Oh, interesting.
It looks like.
All right. So another one we looked at here, another one of the group of city ranking survey kind of things was the Internation's expat city ranking for 2022.
Okay.
And that just sort of surveys expats about how happy they are with where they're living. And it said that when it comes to Bangkok, 79% of expats are happy with living in the city. 69% are happy with the cost of living. 66% are happy with their jobs. 68% are happy with their work-life balance. 82% are happy with the quality of medical care. And only 54% said it's easy for them to make new friends in Bangkok.
Well, first off, how does that compare? Like those look like pretty good numbers.
They do, man. Yeah, they're all above 60.
79. Yeah, 79% are just happy living here. That seems to be a pretty high percentage. So does it have other cities listed there you can compare it to?
Well, we're ranked 6th. So it said Bangkok is the 6th best city for expats to live in the world.
That's great. So, okay. That's so good. I'm not sure I agree with it, but no, that's about right. I mean, you and I have had this conversation before. I mean, you and I think this is the best place in the world to be as an expat.
That's why we're here, yeah.
Right. So the fact that this is, based on surveys and they have percentages and that we scored 6th in the whole world, that's pretty good.
Yeah, although I do wonder what their definition of best is. As with any of these surveys and stuff like that, like the devil's in the details, right? Like, what does best mean to Joe Schmo on the street over there? Might be totally different to what I consider the best.
But it seems like they seem to be focusing on subjective happiness. So they're just asking expats,
right?
How happy are you with A, B, C, D, E?
Right.
And so I guess we have the 6th happiest
right.
expat community.
That's pretty good.
You would never know. You would never know that from going on Thai Visa and listening to all the expats who are bitching and moaning. There's a lot of bitching and moaning.
We're dating ourselves. It's called ASEAN Now.
Oh, it is called ASEAN Now. Yeah. I thought it was. When did that happen? Like 10 years ago?
No, I think it happened last year. But yeah, it's number 6. Ain't bad.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing about the next one was that it comes from Forbes, a little magazine called Forbes, and they had this fun list titled "Quit Your Job and Move Abroad."
Okay.
And it looked at the most affordable countries to live in, and Thailand and Italy were both tied for 9th place.
Oh, I'll take that. I think Italy is one of those places that it really depends on where you are. It's funny that I know an Italian restaurateur here in Bangkok, great guy, and we were just talking about the cost of living in Italy. And he was talking about how they're having some issue in Italy where like people have just kind of abandoned the countryside in a way. And so there's just incredibly cheap like houses, and like if you just don't want to live in a big city in Italy, it's shockingly cheap.
Dude, when I gotta say, this is a bit of an aside, but when I got laid off from Agoda a few years back, you've heard of the thing where like in Sicily you can buy a house for like €10. Right.
Yeah, I
was legitimately thinking, like, should I really think about that? Like,
well, that's what he was talking about this exact issue of that in Italy. I mean, obviously it depends on where you are in the region, but it's just people have kind of abandoned the countryside, so it's just dirt cheap. And I think Thailand's similar. You have talked about this. Bangkok can be cheap if you're careful, but getting outside of Bangkok, it's easy to live cheap.
Yeah, although. This threw out some numbers that I thought were a little bit suspicious. First of all, the thing said buying a condo for foreigners is very easy in Thailand. Don't know if I'd use the word easy.
Right.
It might not be as difficult as other places, but easy.
Right.
And that a quote small and quaint place to live can be found for about 6,500 baht a month. Now, you and I have gone on a great length before about how Khao San Road is not Bangkok and Bangkok is not Thailand.
Right.
6,500 baht would get you a nice little place in Chiang Rai, but in Bangkok,
yeah. Well, I mean, you could. I mean, the bottom line is you would have to go. You would have to go to. If you go on those soys off of Sukhumvit, they basically have apartment buildings that are kind of like dorms.
Right.
Essentially, it's like a dorm room. Like 3 meters by 3 meters or something like that, and maybe a little more than that. But 4 meters by 4 meters. And some of them go for 5,000, 6,000 baht a month, and so it's doable. So it's a clean place, but it's a tiny little room. But I'm not sure I'd call it quaint.
Well, yeah. When I first moved here 21 years ago, my place was 6,000 baht a month, and small and quaint are 2 words that you would not find in my description of it. So
small, you would use the word small.
Yeah. Okay. Small. Yeah. Quaint. No.
But I'll take 9th, tie with Italy, man. I'll take it.
Not so bad. And so we want to do one more, and this ties a little bit into the cost of living. And the cost of living is on everyone's mind these days, obviously coming out of the past 2 crappy years. The economy around the world is up and down and all over the place, and people are hurting. So the cost of living is getting out of hand for a lot of people. But this survey found that Thailand was the 4th cheapest country to travel to.
I just can't believe this. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show, because I think this just can't be right.
Well, it says the average daily cost to visit Thailand is $52 to 52 American dollars, which is 1,800 baht. Do you think you can get by in Bangkok on 1,800 baht a day?
You could get by, but there's no way that's the average. It makes no sense.
No?
And come on, there's a lot of very poor countries in the world where it'd be cheaper to go to than Bangkok or to Thailand. Like it's the idea that we're the fourth cheapest country in the world to visit. It makes I don't get it. I mean, maybe we have to dig deeper to see how they figured this out. I mean, they did have I think they had Laos as at number one, right? So that makes a little more sense. Like a country like Laos, that might actually be the cheapest place to go.
Yeah.
But I think what they really mean is the cheapest places out of the places you might want to go to.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of poor
in Beirut.
That's right. Yeah. Well, there's just a lot of really poor countries that I'm sure are dirt cheap, but there's no tourism there, or you wouldn't want to go there.
Right. What was really suspicious for this was it said that the average accommodation cost was $21, which is 730 baht.
Yeah, how could that be the average? You can do that. Like again, this is the hostel thing, the backpacker. This sounds more like a backpacker survey, is what it sounds like. So if you can survive on, what it work out to be like, what do you say, 1,500 baht a day, something like that? $52.
$52, yeah, $52.
Yeah. So you could do that, but I don't know how it could be the average. I mean, if you want to travel, if you want to get to the islands, and once you get into a tourist area, it's pretty hard to find rooms that cheap.
Right.
Once you get on an island or go to Phuket, it's pretty hard to find a room that cheap, and it's not going to be average. There's no way it's average. So I'm a bit confused by this.
Yeah, me too. The one other thing, it says average daily meal cost was $14, which is 487 baht, say 500 baht.
No way. Only if you eat street food. Yeah, no way.
No. I think totally you could do that. I think that's too much. Like you could easily have 3 giant street food meals a day for 300 baht. I think.
I don't know about, I'd say
but
easily,
only street
but you
food.
could. Yeah, only street food. That's right. Yeah. So, those numbers make sense if you were not in Bangkok and not in a heavily touristed area. So if you were in like real Thailand,
right.
Not Bangkok and not a tourist area, those numbers make sense. Because I'm sure a lot of Thai people live on less than that per day.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have to go to real Thailand.
But this leads us to like the whole like final summary of this episode is because Thailand is such, and this doesn't only apply to Thailand, obviously, but because let's just talk about Thailand. But because Thailand is such a varied country, and there's Bangkok, which is this massive weight over here, and then it's, oh God, on the other side of the scale, it's got all these other little cities and towns. Like, can you even look at these lists and apply them to visiting or living here? Like, are they just completely blown out of the water when you start to apply them to the disparity that Thailand has?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I guess they are what they are. The only thing I fear is that someone might not dig deep. Like if you look at these lists as the starting point to do more research, then I think they're okay. But if you look at this list about Thailand being the 4th cheapest place in the world and you don't do your research and you show up with, I've got $500 for my 3-week vacation in Thailand, then you're gonna be surprised.
Yeah.
It just depends. Like you're right. Thailand is a diverse thing. Like Bangkok is different from the rest of the world or rest of the country. Khao San is different from the rest of Bangkok. And then tourist places are very different from this is actually something Richard Barrow talked about, that like, he likes being somewhere where there are not a lot of foreigners, and that's like the real Thailand. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of different nuances to it. But I kind of like these rankings because I want to know. I'm curious, like, what it's like in these other cities. So I kind of like the rankings, but it doesn't mean I'm going to agree. Like, so some of them I just think it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at these for any sort of insights or anything like that, I mean, use them as a jumping off point, but don't rely on them because a lot of them are really subjective. A lot of them are not backed up by data, and even the ones that are backed up by data, as we saw, are like there's a lot of wiggle room in there too. So,
And British food is not better than Thai food.
I will die on this bean-covered hill. Oh, nice. All right, so one of the new segments we want to try in this new season is something we call Would You Rather, where one of us picks 2 contrasting situations tied to Thailand to debate and choose which one we'd prefer. So, Ed, this is all you this week. What do you got?
All right, this one is very simple. We've touched on small aspects of this before, but I just saw, again, all the stuff I do on the podcast comes from whatever I stumble upon during the week, what I read or what I see or whatever. And I just happened to see an article about some Thai fruit, like all these different varieties of Thai fruit. It was like the top 10 Thai fruits you must try.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And it was something funny. I don't want to give. Actually, let me just ask you first, and then I'll give my opinion later. But I had a funny reaction to the article. So, my would you rather is this: if you had to pick, let's say, the top 5 Western fruits, and we can discuss what those are. But I think it'd probably be like apples and oranges, and maybe bananas and pears or something.
Yeah, grapes.
And then, but then the top 5 most popular Thai fruits that are truly Thai. Which would you choose? So I think the Thai fruits, mango, I just put number 1 because I love it, but Bangkok's a big mango. So mango is a Thai thing. But then unfortunately you got to throw in durian. It's the king of all fruits here, right? And then you got to throw in stuff like dragon fruit and rambutan. You have to throw in these things that are like distinctly Thai. Maybe lychee. So we can discuss which ones would be in like the top 5.
Right.
But all I'll say is this: is the choice for me was surprisingly difficult.
So the question is what I would prefer: the top 5 Western fruit or the top 5
for the rest of your life, Greg. If you could only have Western fruit, the top 5 Western fruits, or the top 5 Thai fruits.
Well, Ed,
what would you choose?
You may have just heard a little sound, and that was me throwing a bag overboard on the ship that we're on so fast, full of the top 5 Western fruits.
Really?
Dude, it doesn't even compare to me. It's all about the fruit available here. Blows the stuff we have at home out of the water. Even
for real.
Even the durian, which I don't like because it gets mad respect for being so bizarre and like in your face stinky that you got to respect it. So yeah,
okay,
man.
This is fascinating. This is fascinating because here's my problem. My problem is that I freaking love mango.
Yeah.
By far, it's my by far most favorite fruit. I love mango. But when I saw this article, I don't know if I'll be able to find a link, but this was top 10 Thai fruits you have to try. I realized that although they're very cool looking, they're very interesting. Like Thai fruits are tropical and weird and exotic. I realized that mango was basically the only one that I eat. Like, I mean, it's not that I hated them. I mean, I don't like durian, but like stuff like rambutan and dragon fruit. It's like I'll eat it, but it's lychee and I kind of like that snake fruit. I kind of like that snake fruit stuff. That's pretty good. But I don't know. It's like I'd rather eat an apple. Like for example, like a crunchy good like Granny Smith's or sun-kissed oranges. I mean, it's just I've never been a banana guy, but this is so weird because I love mangoes, and I think Thai fruit is it's very cool looking, but I don't think I could give up like good apples and oranges. Like a sun-kissed orange, like you bite into that, dude. It's magical.
I love orange juice. Do not like eating oranges.
Oh, really?
Man, I don't know.
If I could have Western fruit plus mangoes, that would be it, man.
Right.
But if I had to choose, I don't know if I can pick Thai fruit just to have mangoes, just for the mangoes. I might. I'm close to picking Thai fruit just so I can have mangoes. But man, I might have to go. I might have to go Western. I mean, it's a tough call. Like you apparently have an easy choice, but I might have to go Western fruit.
I love apples. I dig on apples all the time, but God, mangoes are so good. They are. Rambutan, the lychee, the mangosteen.
Okay, mangosteen is okay. Like that's another one. Like mangosteen, it looks so cool, and it tastes all right. It tastes all right.
I love it. Mangosteen juice is really good. I love the Som-o,
yes. Samo is pretty good. Yeah, pomelo.
Pomelo. Yeah, that's it. Which is interesting. And, it's a mix between a grapefruit and an orange.
That's right. Guava also counts as a Thai fruit, and guava, I've taken a liking to it. When I first had it, I thought, okay, it really doesn't have much flavor. It's kind of almost like it's like an apple or a pear without a lot of flavor. But I like guava now. It's also super healthy, I think. Guava's got like tons of vitamin C. But the thing is, like, I feel like most Thai fruit, other than mango, it doesn't have a lot of flavor, except for durian, and I don't like that flavor.
Oh, really interesting. I think there's such a variety of flavor. Like some of them are sours. I love really cold dragon fruit. God, it's good. Throw that in a blender. Delicious stuff,
Really?
man. Yeah. So I'm heavy on the Thai fruit.
All right, I'm slightly leaning towards Western fruit, and I find it hard to believe because it would be tough to give up mango.
Interesting.
But
Yeah, it would be tough to
lean,
give up mango.
I'm gonna lean slightly Western.
The crazy thing is, I just sort of assumed that I would never like mango. I didn't hardly have any of it my first 5 or 6 years here. The moron.
No, it's the best fruit for sure.
So
No
good.
doubt about that.
Good one.
All right, a final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
True dat. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. You can send us a voicemail through our website that we'll feature on the show. I dumped Twitter, but you can now find me on Mastodon at BKKGreg at home.social. So thank you for listening, everyone, and we will see you back here next week.
No doubt.